Hello and welcome back to the Weird and Proud podcast. It's Sam and
James.
James.
You've nailed that beginning.
Now I just it's just part of me. It's who I am now.
I was singing it today in
I
my
know it kind
head.
of gets stuck in your head,
I was.
Hello everyone. Welcome back. If you're watching on YouTube, you might see a cute little doggy.
Bruce
Her name
joined
is
us.
Prudence Marie. She is Princess of Stantonople. What is Stantonople?
Wasn't that one of the Greek capitals?
Yeah, maybe. I'm just thinking about the
Stantonopoli?
Roman
Yeah. The
Empire.
Roman Empire?
Roman Empire. Have you been thinking about it this week?
Every day.
Do you really?
Of
You really
course.
do. Like, be honest. But
W-
just
the Roman
We'll edit
Empire-
this out. Just tell me if you really
So
do.
the series that we talked about that was on Netflix, it's
Yep.
like kind of supposed to be a historical, but what do they call it when it's a
Docuseries?
it's not even I guess so.
Yeah.
But it's like there's real actors and stuff in
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
trying to portray it, but it's supposed to be historical.
Got it.
I
got it,
swear
got it.
there's a name for it and I cannot think of it.
Roman Empire?
No, not
Things?
yes, it's about the Roman Empire. Correct.
Just Roman things?
Roman things.
Um,
But it's everywhere now. Like everyone's making fun of it.
yeah, well, I know. Well, now it's gone like super, super viral. And it's one of those things too where like, of course, now it's been like every woman has been like, okay, what's the female version? And I've heard so many versions, but one that really did crack me up is like, how often do you think of like your ex best friend or like a girl that like betrayed you?
Oh my god.
And all of them were like,
we-
yes.
and we're thinking about the
And
Roman
you guys are
Empire
thinking
of
about
all
like
things.
aqueducts.
It's so
And
funny.
we're like, oh, that bitch.
That's so fun. That's hilarious
Which
right
is
there.
hilarious.
That's great.
But anyways, we have another great episode for you, as always. And it's like kind of getting into that spooky season where like I really do have a lot of the spooky stuff on the brain. A couple of the secrets. We got some good spookies.
Oh, we did?
We did.
Yes.
I have a weird spooky article, some weird news. But we also, so James and I were discussing because it was a study or like weird news that had made it talking about the twitch and the sleep from last episode.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like, oh, it is so interesting and so weird, like some of the things the human body does. And
Do you remember why we started talking about this today?
Why?
Your epic hiccup burp.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I hiccuped and burped at the same time.
It just sounded relaxing.
It was.
It
was
did.
really
Like even hearing it, I was
satisfying.
like, damn, that sounds good.
Yeah, you were kind of jealous.
Oh, yeah, I needed one.
Yeah, a hiccup burp is something really, really splendid. But you just don't want it to continue. Like I didn't want it, the
You didn't want to do like
continue.
5 in a row. No.
Right.
But one
But
good
one
one.
solid. But
I
so
think
it's a burp and a hiccup, a burkup, maybe.
Sure.
Something to
It
think about.
is now.
But yes, that's how it started. We were like, yeah, why does like the body do such weird shit all the time? And so that's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about because of course James loves the science part of it. I love what I think is interesting is some of these things like are from like our predecessors, like humans like in the wild, like doing like human things.
Science is weird. So it counts.
I know science is weird.
You bet.
That's why I allow it.
You bet your ass it is.
But before we get into the weird things,
you bet your burping, hiccuping ass it is.
Birkin? Your
Birkin ass it is.
Hiccuping?
Now I'm thinking about Birkenstocks.
I know, not the same. Before we get started, I'm gonna do something you're gonna really love. What?
What's that?
We have to talk about one thing that's really important that maybe no one will care about, but I think there is a certain group that will care about this.
What do we need to talk about that's so important?
Football.
Oh my God. Everyone.
But not really
for
football.
a moment of silence, we're going to talk about
not really
football.
We're gonna
Oh
talk
my
about
God.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Yep.
Really quickly. So it's funny, we're recording this on Sunday, which we just saw the game of the Chiefs. So it's just top of mind. And like, of course, I follow so much Swiftie stuff that like everyone's talking about it because it was such a rumor. And really like most of the Swifties didn't believe. Like there's no way. Like Taylor like doesn't really like to date super famous people, funny enough, now in her life. She really like doesn't like some of the drama and like the over the top stuff that like, Travis is a little thirsty, the Kelce, like a little bit of thirst.
What do you mean?
like he's just, they're always like trying to create like gossip, and they are just like, he's out here like doing it all, like State Farm commercials. He's doing like every commercial possible. He has the podcast. He like, is always doing
I
silly
would
stuff.
I would go the opposite. I don't think that they said it to be when they were thirsty. I think that they are kind of down to earth home guys.
Yeah,
Like, so they are famous, but I think that they're different than famous guys
sure.
because they are really kind of down to earth dudes
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure,
and they
sure,
have
sure.
fun with all of it.
They do. Well, and that's the
That's the
thing,
key.
is they're just little silly
Yep.
gooses. And
It's just funny that his brother broke the story first.
right, and then his brother, well, that's the other thing. Like they're always doing these interviews, and I think that's where everyone was like, "Oh, they're just thirsty." Like they just, like she's never going to date him, but like they're trying to like milk all the drama out of this as possible. Be like, "Oh, I don't know." Because no one believed that they actually were dating
Until
until today. When Taylor Swift was seen, and of course, this is coming out Monday. So, like, if you're listening to this, like, obviously everyone knows that she was, in fact, there. Does this mean that they're dating, like, boyfriend, girlfriend?
not
Not necessarily.
necessarily.
But the fact that she was there, like, she knows she's going to be seen. Like, obviously, everyone's
Sitting
going to
right
be
next to
freaking
his
out.
mom.
Sitting next to his mom. It's like, okay. And apparently, it got leaked that they've been on 2 dates.
Okay.
So it's very early. He of course sent out that, I don't know if it was like a tweet or like he said somewhere like, I've seen you kill it at Arrowhead Stadium, like come see me kill it.
Oh, really?
So that's, so she's like, all right, like let's see. But they did like the game isn't over yet, I don't
They
think technically,
destroyed
but
this.
they like
They are
killed it. He had a great game.
they are destroying the
But I
Chicago
always just
Bears.
wonder, like I was asking James, like, do you think they're
Let's
all
check
like
the
in
score.
the locker room being like, holy shit, like Taylor Swift is
Oh no,
here?
they're giving him shit.
Yeah, like,
Oh no,
yeah, they're
guy
like, you
athletes, you are
loser.
giving that so so you said just something about how women think, right?
Yep,
You're thinking about if no matter what, if you're dating someone new and you're in the locker room, like
yep,
any locker room setting, you are getting
yeah, shit for it.
raised shit for that left and right.
And then the woman always gets blamed. Like, I know the whole Tony Romo and like Jessica Simpson. Like, remember whenever they were, I don't know if they were actually married, but like whenever she showed up and he did poorly, like she was bad luck.
Yeah, oh
And
god, yeah. Oh yeah.
so I'm like, I'm glad that he did play well, because like if she came and he just like was fucking
He's
up.
a little he's such a I'm not kissing Travis. I'm not even a huge Kelsey fan. I
Yep.
just respect the athlete. But he is such like a down to earth guy that
Yeah.
just loves football.
It would be interesting to see if they date.
It'd be like if she got distracted being on stage because somebody was in her crowd.
Right.
She
Like
doesn't.
she
She
would
doesn't.
never. She would
No.
actually never.
He's that kind of performer
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
sports.
Yeah. So you're saying Tony Romo wasn't that kind of performer? No.
I just don't think that it actually
Was
meant.
the
I just
same.
think Tony Romo wasn't the same, and it wasn't. Tony Romo was good,
Tony
but he
Romo's probably
wasn't
listening to this right
great.
now.
Tony Romo wasn't like a Travis
Wow.
Kelce
You
level.
heard it here first.
He wasn't a
James
Travis
just on
Kelce
Tony
level
Romo.
player.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm kidding.
Travis Kelce's like
Um,
the best at his position
Yeah, yeah,
ever.
yeah. No, he wasn't. He was on my fantasy team last year.
He was.
Not that I care anymore. I'm not doing that anymore. I can't. But I am a big Chiefs fan now. So go Chiefs.
41-3, the Chiefs are winning.
Yeah. They absolutely crushed it. And we just love to see, love to see Taylor just, I love this era. And I'm sorry if you don't care, but I like had to. I don't talk about her often, but when things like this happen, like I just have to. And of course, James, this is like worlds colliding. It's like James gets to watch the football game. I get to watch the football game with him. The first time I actually like sat down to watch a football game this whole season so far.
And you had talked earlier about what's the female version of the Roman Empire.
Taylor Swift.
We have discussed that if there's anything that is as like two of the most powerful, influential worlds collide, it's the NFL and Taylor Swift.
Like we will,
the
literally.
only performer. There is not one performer that holds the popularity of the NFL like Taylor Swift does.
Yeah.
She's the only one that could be argued as above the NFL.
Yeah.
But they're maybe equal. This is like the superpowers collide.
Literally, meeting of the minds. I wonder like what they talk about on dates. You know, they're like, he's like, oh, like the crowd last night, like when I played. She's like, yeah, my crowd was like so crazy. You know, like what do you talk about like when you're that rich and famous and like
I think they just learn about each other
there's
like you
like,
would
what's
any
your
first
favorite
date.
color?
I think that's the key. Yeah, you shouldn't. That I would. That's got to be what it
I
is.
don't know.
What is Taylor Swift's
I would,
favorite color?
um,
Oh shit! Did I get you?
I wonder what
Oh.
she would say. Like, I would like I what first came to mind was red because like a lot of her red. She has red lipstick. Like one of her albums was red.
Oh yeah,
Red
probably.
symbolizes a lot of things for her. So
Oh,
would I say red or like I feel like she's also like quirky and be like yellow because she
I
also has
thought
a lot of
she'd say
yellow.
like spiritual.
No, I don't know.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I think
I'd
she'd say
like the
red.
red answer actually. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, now I
she
have to
goes
look
with the
that up.
big red lipstick a lot, all the time too. We're looking it up. I have no idea
Now
what.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, I know. You got to know what it is.
Wow.
What is it?
She said purple.
Did
Damn, that
she?
hurts.
That hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts. Yeah.
I should have known that. Purple's in like all of her stuff too. She puts purple everywhere too. I should have known that. I would, but red is in purple, so I was half wrong.
What's the other color that's in red?
Blue.
Oh, wow. The color wheel.
Fundamentary colors.
Yep. Fundamentary
Isn't
colors.
fundamental? No?
There we go. It's on the color wheel.
I thought it had ARY at the end of it. Fundamentary.
I thought that what that sounded like is like
Secondary.
one of those
That's what I was
kids'
thinking.
primary colors and secondary
Primary,
colors.
secondary. God, that's what it was. Not fundamentary.
Fundamentary.
That's it.
What that
That's
sounds
the
like to me
one.
is like I thought that was maybe a kid's like
Maybe.
educational
Probably
course you
was.
listen
And I'm
to.
just a ding dong.
Fundamentary.
Fundamentary.
That's a
part's
great
good. I
one.
feel like that is a word.
We should record a kid. We should teach children things.
Yeah, let's do it.
I taught kids a phrase.
gather
I
round.
taught some kids a phrase today
Yeah, you
that
did.
they repeated over and over and over again. Their
And
parents
luckily
are
it
not
had
going
no
to like
swears
that.
in it.
Unfortunately, there were no swears.
All right. Are you ready to get into some weird stuff?
Oh my god!
And I can also kind of quiz you and see if you are the Mr. Science, Mr. Biology guy
I
that
might
you
not know.
claim to be.
Ouch!
Ouch.
You didn't even know
Hurtful.
Taylor Swift loved purple.
I know, James. Like honestly, I can't even talk about it because I feel like a loser.
She's probably listening, and she's gonna
definitely
be like,
listening.
she's like, well, not gonna be on her podcast anymore.
Yeah, maybe like imagine like Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are listening to this podcast
Two
in
people.
the car. Like,
Tony Romo's not coming on either.
damn.
We'll check
That
them off the
hurts.
list. That hurts. we're racking up enemies all over
So
the
many
place.
guests.
If you don't have some enemies, like big, powerful enemies, you're really not
what's
doing
that
the right
phrase?
thing.
Like being likable is a prison. You know, like you gotta have at least some haters.
I've never heard that.
I don't know. I think I made that up.
It's a good one though. I like it. It's very wise. Being likable is a
Likability is a
prison.
prison. I think someone said that. All right. Anyways, let's get into some weird stuff. It's time for us to educate you guys. And this is like again like what I think, you know, when it comes to like weird, like there are just so many things our body does that are weird, and a lot of things like I feel like I might have heard before, but it's just good. It's a good education. It's good to know. And it's, again, if you never know, like if a trivia question might come up, like then you will know. And I just feel like this is also, it's pretty interesting. And the first one is hiccups, a weird thing that we do that is like, yeah, why do we hiccup? And I know we were talking about this earlier a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know why they hiccup?
I did know this one.
What is it?
Is the diaphragm. It's
so well. It is.
There's
the
multiple
diaphragm.
reasons that can happen. Some people think that it could be anything as crazy as like low electrolytes, but the diaphragm is run by the nervous system, right?
Yep.
And what happens is that diaphragm all of a sudden suddenly pulls air down, and it goes into the vocal cords.
That's exactly. Damn, he's right. A plus.
Purple.
It is when the diaphragm spasms. It forces you to involuntarily.
The diaphragm is controlled by the
Yes.
parasympathetic nervous system.
It forces you to suddenly suck air into your throat where it hits your vocal cord, causing your vocal cords to snap shut, which creates the infamous hiccup sound. But do you know why? Like, and there are a lot of studies, and like a lot of when I was looking this up, like it's funny how a lot of them are like how we really don't know, like for sure. And there will be like from what they've learned, there are many different ways that you can get hiccups. One of them is eating too quickly.
Yep.
Like that's like a big one. And it is like if you don't know where your diaphragm is, which I think it's like between your lungs and stomach. So it's like in between where like if you eat too fast, it can irritate it.
It's
Eating too
shaped
much.
like a hill, like a very soft hill.
Yeah. See science. Or if you drink too much carbonation, or if you feel nervous or excited. Or sometimes acid reflux too. Or they've also seen sometimes when it is a sudden temperature change.
That's an interesting one right
Yeah.
there.
But there's generally like that's the other thing too, is like then everyone's like, well, here's all these tricks to get hiccups to stop. So what they say is one of the ways to get hiccups to stop is to increase carbon dioxide levels in the lungs, which help relax the diaphragm, like taking really deep breaths, which is why a lot of times it's revolved around sucking in air and holding in air, or like the idea when someone scares you,
You hold your breath,
excuse me,
breathe out quickly.
yeah, you're breathing in a huge, chunk of air.
Have you ever heard the drink water with a pencil in your mouth?
What?
Try drinking water with a pencil in
That's
with a pen in
impossible.
your mouth. You can kind of like sip on it. Oh no, I've tried it and it can work.
What?
So like now we need our listeners. Do we have a name? So there's Swifties. Do we have a name? The
I know
weirdos?
the weirdos, the
Weirdos.
wops, weird and
Weirdos.
proud, the wops.
Weirdos. We need you when you get the hiccups to try these remedies and call us in and let them know.
Well,
I'm going to say put a pen or pencil in your mouth and drink it. I do have a second one.
what?
You go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I tried and true holding in my breath. Take a huge deep breath and holding it in.
I know drinking is on there, and if you get the hiccups while you drink,
Yep.
here's the tried and true bartender remedy that I've known since I was bartending when I was 18.
What?
Is you get a lemon
Oh.
and you put bitters on it.
Huh. I've tried that and it hasn't worked.
It's disgusting. Oh no, it absolutely works. You got to suck on it,
yes.
and then you drink soda water after.
No, just hold your breath.
Weirdos, we need you to try this stuff.
Yeah, chime in. Comment below. Okay, the next one is goosebumps. Do you know why we get goosebumps?
2 reasons. Well,
Yeah.
one, when we get nervous, it's actually not goosebumps; it's our hair follicles standing up.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when we're cold.
Yeah. So it's basically contractions in the small muscles connected to your hair follicles that creates your hair standing upright. And the reason, like most of it is like when you're cold.
But think of an animal. Same reason. When Prue gets upset or angry, that little shark
that's for
fin
her.
she gets.
That's more so it looks like she's bigger.
Then same thing for us. When we're nervous, we look bigger.
Oh,
interesting. If we had hair at one time.
I didn't see. This was more talking about like when you're cold.
Oh,
okay.
And
how this like dates back to prehistoric ancestors, because they back then also had a lot thicker hair. Yeah, like thicker body hair, and it would help keep your body warm. Like it was for isolation. So like when you're cold, they're literally the muscles basically would warm up and raise, so it would create a protection, like a better protection for humans.
A little thin layer of air between the hair. Yep.
Yeah. So they say though the goosebumps can be triggered by like, either like exciting situations, emotional situations. And those ones they did say, are a little bit more mysterious of like why that happens. But
I'm getting goosebumps just so excited talking about this.
I know, and that was another thing is that random people can like do it on purpose. Like
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh yeah, I could see that. That's cool.
Which but a lot of the times too, it says like a release of testosterone makes you have goosebumps, and when you have a fight or flight decision making process, you have a release of testosterone. So that also might be a reason. Kind of interesting.
It's all connected to that subconscious or the parasympathetic nervous system, whatever you want to call it. It's just an auto response.
Yeah. The other thing is a deja vu.
Got it.
Have you ever experienced a deja vu?
Yeah. You know what's weird?
What?
The fact that you say that. It's been a while, but
yeah,
I've gotten deja vu many times in my life. This one I know too.
I have gotten. It was funny. Like when I was thinking about this too and reading it, I was like, I feel like I haven't had one in a while.
Me either.
But there's a study that shows that there's a direct relation between deja vu and seizures. Not saying that you're having seizures, but it's like temporal lobe epilepsy described in people with
your brain overreacts, and
Yeah.
what it is it's that the brain sees familiarity in something that it has already conceived.
Yes, it's a
Because
memory mismatch
it's
is
like
basically what it
your
says.
brain is doing so much so often, all of a sudden in your conscious mind, you're like, "Oh, I've seen this before."
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
It's where, yeah, new experience is stored in long-term memory and completely bypasses the short-term memory. So it feels like you've been through an experience before, when in reality, it's basically like your brain memory system glitching.
Mhm.
So interesting. And it says one of the biggest causes of deja vu is being like super distracted. And if you're really, really tired, like, people, it says like if you're super tired, you're sleep deprived, you might feel like you're reliving experiences when it's just you're too exhausted to get reality. Like sometimes from dreams too. Like that happens to me too, where like I feel like I've seen it in a dream, but it's like your mind is really like, no, like I can't tell between like if the dream was real or
Real or
not.
not. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you may have seen it in a dream, like if it's a familiar looking area, like all the areas of New York look exactly the same.
Right.
So it's like, gosh, have we been here before?
Right.
Where it's like, oh
And it's
no.
really, yeah,
Mhm.
so interesting. So there's another one on wisdom teeth, which is like, I mean, I feel like I've known this, that it's just, it used to be that like when humans were hunter gatherers, we needed more molars, back molars, to help
To
with like
chew on
crushing raw
stuff.
meat
Yep.
and, crushing through leaves and roots. But as humans evolved and it was easier to chew, like that is like something that always is so interesting, like molars, that the wisdom teeth, that it's like our body just knows like we don't need them anymore, like get rid of, they cause problems if you keep them in. And I wonder if it is like from just because we're just not using them as much as we
It's
used
more
to.
aesthetic problems. It push your teeth
Right.
together.
True. But yeah, and it was saying that like the human jaw is the strongest muscle in the body, or one of the strongest muscles in the body,
Absolutely.
because it can crush like over 200 pounds.
That's why biting people is an
I
often
know,
form
like,
of
and I
self-defense.
was thinking that, I'm like, wow, I gotta bite more people.
Yeah,
Like, no
that
one would
sounds
want to
great.
get bitten by me.
No, absolutely
I
not.
wonder how strong my jaw is. Like, could I crush 300 pounds?
Probably.
Because it's so big. So I kind of felt like I knew that one. You got your wisdom teeth removed,
I
obviously,
did.
right? Did you have any complications?
No, I got in trouble from the nurse
Why?
because she knew my dad and she told me I wasn't allowed to drive back to college because I had been on anesthetic,
You
and
idiot.
I drove
And you
back to
drove
college anyway.
anyways?
She called the house, which this is before cell phones. I didn't have a cell phone,
Yeah,
and I wasn't there. They're like, "No, he's back in school." She's like, "I told him not." Yeah, she screamed at me. She was mad.
James. Another thing is sneezing, which is also like something that like is kind of a little bit of a no-brainer, but obviously it's like removing irritants from the nasal.
Tickled. That's why it feels like a tickling
Yeah,
sensation.
because they're normally like dust, dirt, pollen.
Just not. It's your immune system not letting things in that it doesn't want.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what it says. The sneezes are one of the most important roles in fighting the spread of bacteria when we're sick. Because like if we're walking around and we're breathing and then we
I think I'm four
don't
for
sneeze
four
it
on
out.
these.
No, you've been crushing it. It's like kind of annoying. Um it's also, it just says like sometimes, oh, your nose like if your nose also, like if you're sick, obviously that was
Yes.
like if you have too much mucus production, it kind of is like a reset to your nasal passage. Kind of interesting. Like this is like kind of interesting. And then this one, another one too that I'm kind of like, okay, this one I kind of knew, but also just interesting, why we yawn.
Got it.
And obviously, I'm sure you already know this, James, but low oxygen levels,
Biggest
of
one.
course. Yawning is obviously when your body's running low on oxygen, it triggers to force a deep inhale and exhale.
Does it say why we yawn when we're tired?
So, that's, hold on, let me. It increases oxygen levels in the bloodstream, and the yawn itself raises your heartbeat to pump oxygen rich blood through your body. I wonder if it's just like a way to keep you awake,
Hmm.
because it's like kind of like giving you a
And now I'm wondering
pump.
if it's related to the twitching, not like directly related, but
Yeah.
it's again, these are all the cool relationship between all of these is they're mostly unconscious things we do. They're a reaction to something going on in the body, and our
Yeah.
body will do it without us thinking about it,
Yeah.
right? Again, then that's the cool stuff that happens.
Yeah. Well, it says that also it's kind of like how a computer uses a fan. It's kind of like also a way to cool down the body. So like if your brain is running hot and it like a yawn brings in a bunch of cold air, fresh air,
fresh oxygen.
and the muscles in your jaw relax, like kind of like open. It just like kind of like creates movement
Do you ever yawn when you're working out?
all the time.
Exactly.
Not all the time, but like if
But
I'm
I do.
working out really, really hard,
Yeah.
especially,
No. Yeah.
I feel like I yawn.
Yeah.
And it is
It's
just like
automatic reaction. Your body's
yeah.
just like, I'm going to help you out here.
Yeah. And it also says too, like if you're bored, it helps stimulate your brain. So if you're
Brings
yawning and you're
oxygen in.
bored, yeah,
Little
it's
free
kind of
dopamine.
like if you're boredom, drowsiness, it can be like a way to kind of
That's the
give your
tired
brain.
one.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So interesting. Gives your brain like a little cool down. Wow. Isn't that so
Learning.
fascinating?
Oh my God.
Like honestly, like this I'm gonna change the category of this to like the podcast we're in is technically like in comedy, which is like the hardest like section to be in because there's so many competing comedy podcasts. But like I think education, I don't know, it might be also up there too, I would think maybe.
Probably a lot of those.
But like yeah, to like school. Like have your kids listen to this.
What if we had it? Yeah.
See,
Don't put
the kids should listen to this.
education 18 plus.
Yeah. The college. This is
18
college
plus
level.
recommended.
Yeah, this is college level, even though I make up words literally on the daily here. But yeah, those are just fascinating. And, those were from like actual reputable health journals. That was actually I found that on a University of Tennessee's like health department.
Nice. Well, they're all right.
So shout out to University of Tennessee.
All the answers were correct at least.
Yeah, no, I promise I didn't get the New York Post. I didn't get the New York Post.
The New York Post version.
Yeah.
People yawn because they think they just saw an alien.
Maybe. That's true.
Should we
No, I
talk
feel
about
like you'd be
Europa?
too scared to be. Should we talk about what?
Europa.
What's Europa?
Europa is the moon on Jupiter. I told you about.
Oh yeah, James. Oh, actually, wait for that. There's a voicemail that's
we'll
gonna
go
ask us
Europa
about
then.
that. And,
Got it.
we're gonna talk about that. But before we get into the secrets, I have one last thing because we're kind of getting into spooky. Like I've gotten some great spooky voicemails. So 2 of them are spooky. One is a weird, funny one, just to mix it up a little bit. But I've been getting a lot of spooky ones. And I saw this. This is New York Post. Tried and true, but it also came from a TikTok. So like this is a girl who's a TikToker.
You know I'm not against New York Post.
I
It's
know,
just
but it
funny.
is more for
New York
entertainment.
Post
It's
is
not,
funny.
this
New York
is, like,
Post
not
is
a
funny as
reputable.
hell. I think it's good.
But this is also where I find like, of course they have the weirdest, like what other newspaper is gonna publish these kind
You
of
should
stories?
really write an article for them.
I know. But this woman, Emily Dexter, is a psychic, and I know what happens when you die.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, we've discovered it. Good. Thank God. We can quit that
Yes.
study in science.
So we can quit that study.
All
It
right.
has been done by 31-year-old Emily Dexter. She is a psychic who regularly speaks with the dead. And they have told her what happens when people die. So she knows. So this is what she says. James, are you like, you believe this, all of this, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So this is what she says. She says, when we pass, we go to what I lovingly call a spiritual spa day. So she says, first, though, we hang out with our dead loved ones for about a week or 2. And we all like say our hellos, like get reunited. And then we head to a place where we basically are like, our goal is to cope and heal from all the challenges that we had when we were human. So like anything that we didn't go through or like didn't get to, unfinished business, it doesn't like, that period can last anywhere from a week, a year, or 5 years, depending on the person and their path. My question is like, so time is the same in the afterworld? Like, do they follow the Mayan calendar in the afterworld?
I've just
No, say it, James. Science.
One, do you think that the Mayan calendar is what sets our times too?
No, it's Roman. The Romes.
Okay,
The
good.
Romans did it, right?
Just checking.
The Romans?
Nope. We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
I'm just gonna. I should talk, but I'm just gonna make faces at this article till you're done with
okay.
it. I'm
We're
mostly
almost
just
done.
gonna
This
make
is the quick
snarky
one.
faces for a while.
But she says she realized she was psychic when she was a child and she converses often with the dead ever since she can remember. She used to talk to a lot of dead relatives and she told her mom, obviously, blah blah blah. Her mom didn't believe her, but now she is a psychic. It's her full-time job. Did you just yawn? Was it because you were
I'm
bored?
bored.
Or because you
So bored.
how dare you
I
yawn?
just yawned.
Your brain needed a reset
Yeah.
after that.
Give me. Yeah. Needed
But
some oxygen.
basically, so she says, that basically, people, that's why a lot of people come back is because they're in that period where they're trying to fix things or like, whatever they didn't get to finish here in the human world. But she says all spirits are like can come down at any time and like there are always guides, like every person has a guide and she likes to think of them as friends that can help you out. You won't necessarily see them, but sometimes you can hear them or feel them. It's like she believes every human has like a team of helpers from the afterlife that can either like come down into our realm or like at least they're like looking after her and can send like some sort of signs or stuff to guide you. So what do you think about that?
This is a
James?
movie.
What?
There's literally a movie about this.
Sixth Sense?
No, it's a little bit.
What?
It's called What Dreams May Come, and it has Robin Williams in it.
Oh,
It's
I
one of
never
the
saw
great movies I've
that.
ever seen. Oh my god, we need to watch that.
About like a psychic?
It's a tearjerker. No, it's
Well-
about the afterlife.
Oh, like he goes to the afterlife and yeah, that sounds sad. Especially Robin Williams.
Great
that's
movie.
Tough.
Oh, such a good movie.
But
James's movie recommendation of the week. Not
Yeah.
spooky, but it's just a really good movie. Robin Williams had Cuba Gooding Jr. in it.
Yep.
There were a few other like big names, but it was really well done, and it does talk about that. And literally, I think it follows exactly what that person was
maybe
describing.
she just watched that movie. It's like what's that?
She's 31, so she would have been really, really young when it came out. Like not probably able to process a movie. It was a 90s,
yeah.
like early 90s movie.
She watched
so
it recently and now.
she's having deja vu.
She's having deja vu. She needs to sleep.
No, I can appreciate it. Psychics are trying to do their thing.
No, James, she's living her life and living her truth.
That's what I said. They're trying to do their thing. I'm all right with that. Harry Houdini wasn't, but that's okay.
Sure. Anyways, just like some interesting stuff, especially getting to the paranormal spooky time of the season. Also, most of the stuff we're watching lately is spooky, scary stuff, and I am in the process of putting together an ultimate scary movie list. I also have I've had a bunch of people send in recommendations on my stories, and I'll create a list and I'm gonna post that. So what?
Sorry,
Yes.
continue.
Well, I was just going to say, we'll put together a full list. And yeah, if you have recommendations, send them over. Comment below. And when I say comment, like comment on the YouTube video, you can comment on the reel that that we post on Instagram and, or DM us, Weird and Proud Pod. And if you have like a specific recommendation for a scary movie, for a good one, and one that's like recent, like some of like the classics, like Scream, Chucky, like, we're the last 10, 20 years. I'm trying to like kind of gather, right? What do you think?
Okay.
Were you
No,
gonna
that's good. There's some really good older ones that we probably should watch.
I know, but it's it's just so tough is like the quality of like and not like the
Yeah,
quality
you don't
of the
like
acting or
you don't
like
like the low quality.
but it's more, it's just like we're so spoiled with like 5K and
I
like
love some of the low quality.
I know. Well, some of them they've redone, so like they're easier to watch. But like when you have like these crisp, like gorgeous, like HD.
So you've probably never seen the Evil Dead movies.
I might have when I was like little, but like
Evil Dead was so good.
well, what's funny is I had watched recently Pet Cemetery. Well, not recently, but like
oh
one of
wow,
my
that's from way back.
And actually, this was like out of like around college age. But I remember being like, oh, the quality is just so, like it's just like the quality of the picture itself is.
See,
it's hard to be scary.
That's funny you say that. No. I sometimes I like watching those and thinking about that time period and being like, Wow,
I
this
know.
was like revolutionary for them.
I know, but it's distracting because then you're not focused on the movie and being scared. You're like, oh, what was this like back in the 80s or the 70s or whatever? You
Yeah,
know?
but some of them are so good. Like, you can also see how directors work. Like, Sam Raimi was the director of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and, he wrote them, helped write
Yep.
them. And but then, that was the beginning of his career, and eventually he became so big, he, directed that big first, Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire
Yeah.
that came out. And there were a lot of, like, similar shots and things that he did in Evil Dead
You're
that you
really
could
thinking about
see
that while you're watching a scary
in the
movie.
Spider-Man. Well, yeah, why not? Don't you wanna see how the director does their
No,
art?
I want to be scared. I want to get the
You can also be
goosebumps.
scared
I
and
want to
do
have
that.
my
I want
hair
the
follicles
goosebumps.
raising.
I want I want raised hair
I don't want to be like,
follicles.
ooh, this was a shoulder shot back in the HD wide 4X. Would it be great to see the new Spider-Man? Like boring. That means I'm bored and I'll be yawning and resetting my brain. I will be resetting my brain. Thank you. That's what I'm gonna say when you yawn. Just when everyone says, "Oh, you yawn," be like, "No, it's resetting my brain. Like you make my
Just a
brain hurt."
quick reset.
Yeah, you make my brain hurt. Okay, James, it's time for some spooky, scary stories. Well, not scary stories, weird secrets, and some scary stories. A little bit of we have two scary things, paranormal, weird things, and then we also just got a classic weirdo.
There's usually a song associated with this.
I'm getting myself prepared. Secret, 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 secrets. It's time for some spooky weird secrets. And if you want to send us a spooky weird or just a weird secret, you can call in too.
Speak pipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. I'll also put it in the description of this episode. So you can either click on it or copy paste, or again, it's also on our Instagram page. You'll see the link up there too. You can just click on it. Always anonymous. Minute and 30 seconds. Send us. I mean, I'm in like a spooky mood. Hopefully, you guys are like feeling the spookiness vibes. But I'll always put like some other weird ones too. But I've been liking the spooky. All right, James, you ready?
Prepared.
Here we go.
I have a story from when I was in college and I was nannying. It was this couple that I didn't know previously, and I had met them through one of the apps. So I watched their kids for 2 weeks while they were on vacation in Italy. And they had a 9-month-old baby and a 3-year-old. Great kids, great family. It was this massive house that didn't look like a house. So one night I'm asleep and all of a sudden something forces me awake, and it forces me to sit up, and my heart is beating like out of my lungs extremely fast, and I'm forced to look at the end of the bed, and there's this creature slash human standing there, and it marks a X in its chest with its long fingernails, and then it just disappeared. And right after that, the baby started crying like a wailing cry, and it was so terrifying. So I was like, that was way too weird. This is a massive house. It's really scary. It's kind of older. And it like doesn't belong in the neighborhood that it was in. And so I was like, I'm going to do some research on this. Well, I found out via Google that this house is the old Red Cross building that used to be in a different city. So they picked up that building and moved it to be their house. I will never nanny ever for them ever again.
So that's spooky. I love when you guys call in and give like a really like detailed story, because like a person who's like crossing an X on their chest, like that's like,
Was it a plus sign like the
well,
Red
that's what I was
Cross?
just gonna say with the Red Cross.
Mhm.
Like, was it like a plus sign or like more like an X? I mean, she said an X, but like, yeah, maybe she was like doing a cross sign for the Red
I think it was a Red
Cross.
Cross sign.
What? Now I want to know where this is. The Red Cross building? You can just like be like, I'm going to buy that building and I want to move it over here. It must have been like not too far away, I'm guessing.
And when I think about an entity that forces somebody to sit up,
Right.
I think about another classic old scary movie that we should probably watch.
What?
One of the scariest movies of all time, Poltergeist.
Oh, another classic.
Poltergeists are, I believe, are the ones that actually have like more physical interaction with humans.
Yes.
And they're the
yes,
ones that, like because she said,
And they're
it
more like
forced me to sit
dark
up.
energy.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it forced her to sit up. That's a
Yeah.
poltergeist to me.
That's so creepy. I'm curious, like, did you say anything to the parents? Like, were you like, by the way, is your house haunted? I am like so open with that stuff that like it's funny, like even when I go to my therapist's house, who
Yeah.
has her house was built in 1508.
Oh, that's creepy.
So literally as soon as I walk in, I go, is this house haunted? Like
That's the first thing you asked. You asked
like
that
not
when we
like,
go
hey, how are you? I go, is this house haunted? And that told her everything she needed to know about me.
when we're on vacation. I love it when you also do that. Like if we know we're going to a bar or restaurant that's knowingly haunted, it's the
Yeah.
first
I
question out
go,
of your
is
mouth
this
every
place
time.
haunted? Like I have no
Have you had
problem
any
asking.
interactions?
Yeah, and have you seen anything? Sorry, like I'm just so fascinated. It is like this fascinating thing that I just and I obviously too so completely believe in it that it's just crazy to think of. Like I just wonder like will I come down and haunt anyone?
I'm
And
sure.
I have a feeling I will.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because like I want to, but I don't want to like be stuck in like a pattern. I don't want to be like stuck in like some people say it's not good to have unfinished business. You want to pass to the other side. But I at least want like a couple years. I mean, if this psychic said you can at least have up to 5 years, like I'll take 5 years and just fuck with all of you, everyone. But if Prue's up there, then I'll.
Boo boys.
All right. Are you ready? This is another spooky one, and then we'll finish with the weird one. You ready?
Hi, Sam and James. I love the pod. I listen a lot frequently when I am traveling around for work. I actually do the same job that Sam used to do back in the day. So, a few things for you guys. Number one, I totally agree that the moon landing never happened. It was a total hoax. Number two, I have two brothers and they are flat earthers and they have some very valid points. I like talking with them and discussing. And number three is a question for you guys. Do you believe in other galaxies? And if you do you think that there is life there? And do you think that they're like more progressive than us or behind the times / what do they look like? Like all the things, like, is there another Earth happening? And do they know about us type thing? And we're just oblivious and don't know about them. Or maybe we do. So many interesting things.
So I totally forgot. There were a couple other paranormal things, and I forgot I chose this one. But this is where we can talk about the other the Europa. But I was cracking up. I would just love to watch you talk with a flat earther, like because it's not like you're arguing with them. Like you
No.
also truly like are like let's have an open conversation. Like you're very
I've learned a long time ago never to argue.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
because if you argue with an idiot, you're just gonna get brought down to their level.
James. But this whole, of course, this is brought up. I think someone asked us too, like our thoughts on aliens, and you had brought this up to me about this study.
I'll also comment on what here's
Yeah.
how it would go if I was having a discussion with someone like that. I want to learn why they believe those things.
Yeah.
Like, what's the sources of you believing it? Did you watch a fun YouTube video?
Right.
What did you
Well,
do? I want them to call back in and tell me why flat Earth.
Yeah.
And why
you
do you
have
not?
the flat earther call
Why
in.
do you not believe? Yeah, we need the flat earthers to call in.
Yep.
And why do you not believe in the moon landing?
Yeah.
Like, I need to know why.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you why about the moon landing, and I've told you before.
Wait, why is yours? You probably have.
Well,
I probably blanked it out.
Well, it's a lot. We went into this. We went over all the conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah.
One, so I don't want to go over it too much. But it was like just that, like there were people on the moon before they got there. Like there were just little things that were, well, maybe we can go back into that again. But we need a flat earther to call in and tell us your reasons why you believe the Earth is flat, please.
Yeah.
Please. But in terms of like the galaxies,
Okay. We can cover this.
But you were just saying the Europa thing. What's with the Europa thing?
She asked, do you believe in other galaxies?
Right.
So again, a lot of this is based on what our definition as, humans, our existing humanity. And if we trust in science, right, then we have to use the language and understanding of what we have. Other people can have other understandings or other definitions of it, right? Yep. To not believe in other galaxies would also to like, I don't really believe in grass. And it's like, what do you mean I don't believe in grass? Well, I think we should call it something else. You're just naming it something else.
Right. Because I was even thinking, I'm like, what is the definition of a galaxy? Because like we're in a galaxy technically, so like in a galaxy far, far away,
Yep.
like
So,
Star Wars. Like what? Like like there. I
do you know the next closest galaxy to
no
ours? Do you know the name of our galaxy?
no the Milky Way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
You got it. We're the Milky
God! I
Way.
feel so smart.
The next closest one. Now, wow.
is
I could
a
be.
Musketeer, Three Musketeers. Do you get it? Candy bar. Do you get it? LOL. Continue.
Milky
What kind?
Way. Got it. Now
Right?
I'm there.
Milky Way, Three Musketeers.
I
That
was
funny.
fact checking myself, and I might get this wrong. I'm pretty sure the next closest galaxy to us is actually called Andromeda. You've probably heard that before.
Sounds
There's
very
science
fancy.
stuff. There's science fiction movies and stuff called
So
Andromeda.
how many
because of that.
galaxies do you believe there are?
In pretty much, I mean, to a point, infinite.
Right.
There isn't a number.
Right.
Based on our current definition of the
like
universe.
how big is the universe? Right.
Yeah.
It's like, who
well, it's
knows?
actually continual expanding.
And
That's
yeah. I mean, well, that throws a loop into things.
Yeah, it's ever expanding.
Drinks a lot of protein.
We're actually getting further away from the other galaxies, and the universe can only expand. There's nothing, again, based on our definition of how things work, nothing can go faster than the speed of light. But
so
the
how is
galaxies
it
are
growing
expanding.
though?
So, based on how we define and discuss the universe, right, as
Yeah.
humans, now
holes?
this one I'd have to look up again. So, I love that I say universe is just like black holes.
Protein?
Yes.
Are you drinking protein?
You're so good at this stuff.
I know. Science.
Based on it, the universe does sit within what you talked about one time, right? The time-space continuum. Right.
It's time-space continuum.
And so it is constantly just ever expanding. And
Wow.
you can't even think of it like a 3 or 4 dimensional object, like a circle, which is 2D, versus a sphere, which is 3-dimensional, or 4-dimensional, where there's another dimension coming in.
What
Like
about 5-dimensional?
It's infinite, almost dimensional. It's expanding into
What
all
about
different other
7
forms.
dimensional?
So
Yes. Okay.
there's
so
just
it's
a bunch of there's so many galaxies out there.
So, but you were going to bring up Europa.
Okay, Europa
because
is a well-known. It's a
Saturn
moon of Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Moon of Jupiter.
Same thing.
It's been found to have water, frozen oceans, deep within this, right? And that was one of and that's been well known for a long time, that it has the properties of water, and enough carbon dioxide to potentially foster life, right?
Or maybe like the aliens were there at one point, and now they're just like they left it and they just like froze it over.
To answer her question, because I had covered some of that on the previous podcast, what she said is how you could theorize it. Aliens see us. I'll just repeat it all. Aliens see us and they think
losers.
Yeah, pretty much like ants, right?
Bunch
if
of
they have the
losers.
technology to get here from that far away,
a bunch of
what we're doing
ding-dongs.
is really nothing.
Yeah, they're like, wow, you have an iPhone? Cool. Like, I just came from 7,000 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
so
like, cool story, bro. And also she was like, what do you know what's so funny? Like, I was thinking this, like, what happens if aliens come over here? Like, we always are like meant to see like from TV and like pop culture, like, the eyes, the little green beings with the antennas.
So what do they look like? All right. So that's
no, but they
potentially likely. Here's how, again, let's go back to, we have to define it based on how us as humans, the science world, physics basically defines how matter is formed. This is a form of quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
Quantum.
Oh, so like had to been from an animal. Like they're like most humans, like a human form would have had to come from like some sort of.
And an animal came from somewhere else, and something else came from somewhere else, right? More importantly, how was that being shaped based on where it is? And there's a few forces
based on its environment.
So here's some of the things that shape us. Gravity.
Ooh,
what happens if you? Why did they wear space suits in space?
I don't know, because they never did.
No gravity, because they never did. There you go. Why do they bounce around? No gravity.
Right.
You would basically, because there's so much internal pressure in a human, you would kind of like maybe explode.
Right.
Because there's no gravity holding you in. So there's that very delicate balance that as life forms, that's being formed and shaped by these governing forces, like gravity, what minerals and what molecules are available, like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide. Those are the 3 elements in our air. They help shape how any
Right. So we
respiratory
really
thing
don't know
does.
until we know what the planet that they're living on is based off
Exactly.
of.
So what they've kind of theorized is they look at these places that maybe could
And try
support
and
life,
guess.
and they guess what are they going to look like.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there actually is a documentary out there that has some of these
like
things
what they
outlined.
think they look
Mhm.
like.
But like, what
There
could it
should
look
be a
like?
smut book. Like, there's always like these smut, like some of these like elves and like, falling in love with like these elves or fairies or stuff. What about the aliens? Like, what if these like aliens come, and they're like, I don't know, they're like hot seals. I don't know. It's just like crazy to think about. Like if they ever do come, but yeah, if they do come, they're gonna be like probably just kill us all really quickly and be like, you guys are a bunch of idiots.
I mean, they could.
And like we just like the amount of time that we live is so small probably compared to like.
And that's the other thing, is the
They're like-
other one besides that they don't like us or don't care about us, is it's more there could have
value.
been so again, we covered this in the last one. Universe is 13.8 billion years old.
Right.
Earth is 4.5 billion years, not even half, right?
Well, you know what they're
Barely a
saying
third.
too?
It's not only a third of it.
The Roman Empire was 1,000 years
Yeah.
old. Or America is 260 years
Yeah.
old.
Oh, we're
So, so
babies.
it's like you think about it, it's like, yeah, we're just like literally fetuses.
We've gone through, there was a book, and I'd have to reread this one, that studied like how long empires have lasted.
Yeah.
And as America, we're starting to get to the end of where most empires start to degrade down.
Well, yeah. Uh-oh.
At least the first cycle. We're in the first cycle of the chance of it. So
well, I hope that the aliens come soon. Just to say hi. Like they don't I would hope that they wouldn't kill us, obviously, for all of our sake. But I would hope they at least just be like, hey, what's up? Like, you guys are kind of idiots. Like, how would they talk? Like, I always think about that too. Like, how would they communicate? Like, what are the chances they come down and they speak English? Like, probably, unless they've like studied us and they know. Like, it took us 2 seconds to learn English.
And I don't know where the not teleportation. That's how you would just get beamed up like Star Trek.
Beam
but
me up, Scotty.
how what are the mind connection thing? I can't even think
the
of what
mind
it's
connection? Psychics?
called.
What?
No. Where they can basically communicate just like mind
like
to mind.
telekinesis.
I think telekinesis is maybe it is telekinesis.
You can talk with your mind.
So
yeah,
that's what, I don't know where that theory came from.
Ooh, that would be cool.
But I'm just bringing that one up because it's a lot of sci-fi.
Right.
I don't know if there's any scientific backing.
Yeah. So interesting, you guys. Oh, by the way, also while we're on the subject of aliens, James and I did watch the South Park Scientology episode, and it is worth the watch because it is kind of.
You did think it was worth the watch? I meant to ask you that.
More for like, again, like what do they actually believe in, and like, I mean, again, I can't really like fact check it and be like, yeah, what do they? Because that is one of the things, like you can't learn what really happens until you pay enough and move up the ladder. But if that's really what they believe in, like that is a little cuckoo crazy.
That is what they believe in.
Yeah.
I fact checked that.
And just worth a watch. And then it really like now, like anytime someone says like, yeah, that actor's a like in Scientology, it's like, what? It really is wild. Anyways, and I was just thinking too, if you did want to hear us debate like a lot of conspiracy theory, aliens, all of this stuff, the moon landing, the Great Debate is the episode that we go through all the top conspiracy theories. You'll have to go back and watch that one. But we do. I forget. I go over like all the conspiracy theory.
I'll have to go back and listen to that.
You will have to go back and listen to it. All right. So, with that being said, I hope we answered all your questions. But again,
that was a great call.
If there are any flat earthers that want to call in and tell us why you believe in the flat earth, please do. Because I can give you all the arguments about the moon landing. I need to hear the flat earth. That I really need to hear. All right. Are you ready for the last secret?
I don't like the last secret because that means it's over, but we can do it.
Okay. It's a good one. Here we go.
Hi, Sam. Hi, James. I got a good one for you. A little secret confession. So my mom is obsessed with chapstick, and I didn't think of anything of it. When I was about 3rd grade, I saw some chapstick in her nightstand drawer. And now she's a big proponent of the chapstick brand, the one that you see at the grocery stores right when you're checking out. It's always like red cherry flavored chapstick, her favorite. So I went in her drawer and I saw one that looked a little bit different than her usual chapstick, and it had a big cherry on the front and it was different. So I naturally was like, hey, cherry, let me give it a whiff. So I smell it, put it on your lips, and rub it in. Tastes just like cherry. Put it back and don't think anything of it until, I don't know, 4 years later. I'm a bus rider, and you hear stuff on the bus. You start learning things. I casually looked in her nightstand again, and the tube of chapstick said, pussy gloss. Yes, I did use my mother's pussy gloss as a lip moisturizer. So there's that. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.
This is it's a lot.
Did it work?
Did it work?
That's my
Also, like,
question. Did it work?
what is pussy gloss? Like, where do you get pussy gloss? Like, what's the purpose of pussy gloss?
I'm guessing it's like a
lube type
lube
of
it
thing?
up. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. I wonder where this person's from. Is that like a Canadian thing? Like, I've never heard of
She
like
didn't
pussy
sound
gloss.
Canadian.
Yeah, that's true. I just like have never really heard of pussy gloss, but like I'm interested, but the fact that you put that on your lips is
Hilarious.
yeah. That like also this is gross, but like you didn't like tell, like it didn't like give off a slight
Well,
smell.
She learned about it on the bus, so
I
she was so
know, which is
young.
like, yeah,
I
what
don't
kind of
know if
bus?
she'd know the
Right,
difference.
that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, maybe how
That's my
you're
guess,
young
yeah.
enough to not. Yeah. That is absolutely rancid. I would throw up.
Even years later, you might throw
Yeah.
up doing that.
Yeah. I'm so glad. Like, I really was never like too nosy, like going through my parents' stuff. Like, again, like I more was just like too scared to find something that I just didn't want.
I could see that. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I never like went through because I was always scared they would catch me. Like, both my parents have ears. Like, my mom can hear everything. Like, even if she's like in the backyard and like I open her drawer, she'd be like, she'd run in and be like,
she would
"Did
know.
you touch my drawer?" It's like, "Did you touch my drum set?" Like, she knows.
Did you
like,
touch my drum set?
Like, everything is so perfectly set that if one thing was off, she'd be like, "You went in my drawer." And I'm like, "What?" So it's like, I'd
She
be too
would know.
scared. Yeah. She would
yeah.
literally know.
I can see Gidget doing that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
She knows where everything is at all times. She has eyes literally at the back of her head. So I just couldn't. But I mean, I can see how that would happen. Like, I've gone into her drawers like in the kitchen, and like she'll keep a little chapstick there. But thank God she doesn't keep her pussy gloss in the kitchen. But you never know. You never know when the time arises. But thank you so much for calling in with that secret. That was absolutely, I was gonna say putrid.
Putrid?
Putrid.
A lot of good words today.
I know. I was trying to expand my vocabulary.
You did a great. You expanded.
Putrid. That means like gross, right?
Yes, like
Okay, thank
stinky
you.
gross.
Yeah,
So it's
stinky.
you were on point with that.
I know. I just was hoping I was saying it right. Like, as it came to my head, I was like, wait, is it putrid?
You not only expanded your own vocabulary, you made up a whole bunch of new words
That's
today.
kind of what I do best.
Yeah,
Make up
it was-
words as I go, make up things as I go.
Make sure Webster gets all these
Fake
put
it
in
till
there.
you make it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just like gotta say it with your full titties. And sometimes they believe you. Most of the time they call you out on your bullshit like James does to me. But thank you so much for all the amazing secrets. Again, you can call into speakpipe.com/weird and proud pod. All one word. Speak SPEAKPIPE.com. Speak pipe. And also, before we go, don't forget, don't turn it off, because we have a couple shows coming up. We're going to be in New York City on October 11th, going to be in Chicago on October 19th, Dubuque, Iowa on the 20th, 21st. If you go to SamanthaRamsdell.com, Samantha Ramsdell, all one word, .com/events, you will see the tickets available. We're so excited to see you. So excited to meet you. It's going to be silly gooses. I do stand-up. I have a couple of songs I do. We do a version of Weird Secrets live, which is kind of spectacular. we do a challenger too. We do some weird stuff. It gets weird. So make sure you get your tickets. We can't wait to see you. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting.
You're the
And
best, weirdos.
we'll see you next week. Love you, weirdos.